Starts now.
Good evening, I'm Lauren Culver. Thanks for joining us. In tonight's top story, neighbors who live near and around a sober living facility in Dickinson say they've had concerns about the new facility, and those concerns have caught the ear of city officials. KX News reporter Robert Suhr went to Dickinson and has this story.
This seemingly inconspicuous home behind me is known as Hope's Landing. But for those who live around this sober living facility, they say this place may be ruining their neighborhood.
This problem is under the radar for much of polite society, but it's destroying our city, our nation, our people, our children.
She's talking about drug and alcohol addiction. In response, the all-male sober living facility known as Hope's Landing opened about 6 weeks ago with the goal of helping men recover from drug or alcohol addiction. A women's version has been open for about 3 years now in another part of town. Both projects were the creation of Western Edge Ministries, with the hopes of rehabilitating men and women and slowly getting them to re-enter society after going through correctional facilities or other treatment centers. But neighbors of the 5-bedroom home often paint a different picture of the facility, telling city leaders last week they believe drugs are being used at the home and vandalism on their street has happened since it opened.
Neighborhood safety and the well-being of our neighborhood has become an abundant concern. If a men's sober living facility opened unexpectedly in your neighborhood, how would you respond as a resident?
The owner of Hope's Landing is Kayleen Wardner, wife of North Dakota Senate Majority Leader Rich Wardner. She agreed to sit down with me and defend Hope's Landing.
There was some vandalism on Schnagel Drive. There was vandalism on Schnagel Drive before we arrived. But anyway, they said the police said it was us. So I called the police, and they said there were no such charges or no such reports against us.
She also tells me one of the reasons for this is simply because they run an extremely tight ship.
People cannot be in our house. We drug test, we alcohol test, there's curfews, they have to be in by 10 o'clock. Our people are not running around in the middle of the night.
But there's also another problem facing owners. The facility most likely needs to have a special use permit in order to operate in a residential neighborhood. Dickinson City Administrator Joe Gaw tells me they believe Hope's Landing thought they were going by the book.
Group homes are allowed uses without any special permits in residential districts, and that's what they felt they were. We feel that they're a little bit different than a group home, which is an allowable use. A treatment facility like this is an allowable use if they first get a special use permit.
He adds if incidents related to the facility pop up or if they are denied a special use permit, Hope's Landing will have to shut down, but they can remain open during the permit process. Reporting in Dickinson, Robert Suhr, KX News.
The Dickinson Planning and Zoning Board is expected to debate the special use permit for Hope's Landing later this month. New to